So with that said, I want to go ahead and turn things over to Deputy Superintendent, Dr. Jenna Chasson.
Thank you, Ted. Good morning, everyone. Happy to provide you all this morning with some information about the Steve Carter Literacy Tutoring Program. Tutoring is a research-based strategy to address unfinished learning. When it comes to foundational literacy skills, children need targeted intervention. The most impactful intervention can occur when students' unique needs are identified and instruction is tailored to meet whatever gaps may exist in student learning. One-on-one or small group tutoring provides students with the individualized attention they need to diagnose needs and for skilled tutors to fill those gaps in student learning through intentional tutoring sessions based on the science of reading. In order to provide literacy tutoring to our students who are most in need of these services, the Louisiana Department of Education is launching a new program that will provide thousands of families with $1,000 tutoring vouchers to help children learn to read. The Steve Carter Literacy Tutoring Program connects families of eligible kindergarten through 5th grade public school students with high-quality literacy tutors. Starting today, Louisiana families can visit the online portal to learn more about the program and share their email address to be notified when student registration opens in a few weeks. This program provides additional support to students and helps improve literacy outcomes through high-quality instruction with an effective educator. The Louisiana Department of Education has invested $40 million to fund the program as part of the state's comprehensive strategy to combat Louisiana's literacy crisis. This program is for eligible public school students in grades kindergarten through 5th grade. School systems are now identifying eligible students and will notify families if their child is eligible. Eligible families can expect communication from their school system about the program and how to access the user platform. Students in grade kindergarten through 3rd are eligible if they scored below proficient on their beginning of year screener. Students in grades 4th and 5th are eligible if they scored below mastery in the English language arts component on the spring 2022 LEAP assessment. Families are welcome now to visit www.louisianatutoringinitiative.com to learn more about the program and share their email address to be notified when student registration opens. Once student registration opens, families can use the student portal on the website to register, browse for available tutors, and manage their $1,000 voucher. This program connects families with high-quality tutors who have been approved through the Louisiana Department of Education. Tutors are certified teachers in elementary or reading or have a degree in education, English, or another subject indicative of expertise in reading and literacy. We are so excited to launch this program, and we know the incredible impact that it will have on the eligible children who are able to experience this tutoring. And with that, I will turn it over to Dr. Cade Brumley, our state superintendent.
Thank you, Dr. Chasson. Look, we're really excited about the launch of the Steve Carter program for kids. I think it's important for a couple of reasons. Number one, it adds an additional tool into our toolbox to solve for the literacy crisis we're facing in the state of Louisiana, but also it empowers parents to be able to make decisions in the best interest of their child as they'll control their own voucher. I think those key elements are really important. For over 2 years now, I've been calling out the literacy crisis. We've received a lot of support legislatively from our state board, and we are seeing in our schools practices and policies being implemented. So I'm really thankful for the energy that we have around this. But again, this is another tool in the toolbox so that we can get the results that our kids need and deserve. And so we're really optimistic about the launch. So at this point, I will turn this over to State Representative McKnight, who is one of the two authors of the initial legislation. So he can make a couple of remarks, and then we will turn over to Representative Hughes, who is the other author of the legislation. And after they make some introductory remarks, we're all happy to take questions. Representative McKnight.
Thank you, Dr. Brumley. Look, I want to thank Dr. Brumley and the Department of Education for taking this up. You know, we started this process Representative Hughes and I, we were both very close to Representative Carter, and this was something that he was a major champion of. So it only seemed right when I came in office that he and I teamed up and took this on. And so it is an ongoing crisis that both Representative Hughes and I acknowledge and have been trying to battle over the past few years. So this is a great step towards assisting these families and these children that are not reading on grade level. And as we all know, it all starts with reading. If you're not able to be proficient in read later in the grades, you just are not able to learn. You must learn to read now in order to read to learn later. So again, thank you so much. This is going to be a great start to hopefully a program that just continues to grow and helps these children get on the level. Representative Hughes.
Well, Scott, let me thank you, my friend and partner in this work. And as Scott has said, we were both very close to former Education Chairman Steve Carter. And one of the greatest tributes that we could make to him was to get this over the finish line, because he was so passionate about doing for our children and getting them on grade level. Superintendent Brumley and the Department of Education have been such amazing partners. Superintendent Brumley has never run from the literacy crisis plaguing our state. He has faced it head on. And while Louisiana, we're not where we want to be, we have some very encouraging signs that we're on the right track. When most of the country was very dismal a few weeks ago when the NAEP scores across the nation were released, Louisiana showed the most growth in the nation amongst fourth graders with respect to reading. So we are on the right track, but as the superintendent has said, as Scott and I know, as we all know, we have to use every tool in our toolbox to ensure that our kids can read so that we can build a strong, robust economy in Louisiana. And together, we are going to make that happen. So once again, I just want to thank the superintendent, Dr. Chasson, the entire team at the Department of Education, my friend and brother, Scott McKnight, and all of the stakeholders for putting our children first. And we're on the right track, and the best is yet to come. Thank you.
Thanks, Representative Hughes. With that, we'll go ahead and start the question and answer portion. If you have a question you would like to ask, you can either unmute and ask the question, or if you would prefer, you can type the question in the chat, and I'm happy to ask that question for you.
Hello, everyone. I have a few questions really quickly. My name is Jessica Knotts. I'm with WVLA WGMB. My first question is, you just mentioned NAEP scores, and we saw that there was a huge dip in the math scores. So will we be extending this tutoring to math, or will it just be for reading right now? And then my second question will be, will the tutoring just be online, or will they be able to do the tutoring face-to-face? And then the last question is, Brumley, you said control their voucher. What does that really mean? Will they be completely able to control their voucher, or how will the steps go?
Yeah, so I'll take a couple of those, then turn that over to Dr. Chasson for some additional information. So for me, I just think it's really important that parents have the ability to make decisions in the best interest of their own children. And so this is an educational freedom bill and program as much as it is anything. And so parents will have the opportunity to go in, see their child's voucher for $1,000 and be able to apply that voucher to various vendors throughout the state who have been approved by our selection process. We believe that with the $1,000 voucher and the price points that our team has set for the vendors, that if a child wants individualized instruction, individualized tutoring, it will cover about 25 sessions over the course of the year. If they want small group tutoring in a group up to 3 students, they would be able to receive about 35 sessions over the course of the year. So that is really important, that one, we empower parents to make decisions in the best interest of their child, but two, we continue to work through the literacy crisis that we have in the state of Louisiana. I'll echo what Representative Hughes mentioned earlier. While we know that the NAEP results indicate that we still have a long way to go in the state of Louisiana, we know that in the area of fourth grade reading, our reading proficiency for fourth graders is actually stronger now than it was before the pandemic. I think that's a result of a number of things. One, we emphasize face-to-face instruction. We emphasize heavy involvement in summer programming. We emphasized early tutoring and teacher collaboration. Beyond that, some of our early investments in this literacy work from the legislative standpoint and our state board began to take hold. I think that as those begin to saturate our system and saturate into the schools, we'll see additional literacy growth. Before kicking to Dr. Chasson, I just would mention in terms of math, across the country, math loss was significant on the nation's report card. We saw loss in Louisiana as well, not as significant as the rest of the country, but in a state that's been long challenged educationally, any loss is significant. So for us in terms of math, I think what we have to make sure that we're doing is making sure that we're providing foundational skills in math so they can build foundational fluency at an early level, stacking onto conceptual learning, where students are getting just-in-time information on math so that it is ready for the next level of math, because math is stackable. And so I think those things are important, but would turn that over to Dr. Chasson to speak more about math.
Yeah, thanks, Dr. Brumley. So we have done some work around math tutoring. This particular program is focused on literacy, but we also know that improving literacy outcomes will undoubtedly have an impact on our math scores, as well, as literacy is a gateway for all other content areas. But we have done some work on tutoring in math, in particular over the last several years. We knew that it was difficult and a burden on our schools and school systems to really be able to identify and access high quality math tutoring resources. And so we've actually worked across the state with our teacher leader advisors to develop free math tutoring resources that are available on our website. And we've seen the usage of those materials really across our state in the last several years. So we have been able to do that for math, knowing that that is really a challenge area across the nation. I also wanted to answer the question about online or face-to-face tutoring for this program in particular. So when families access the online portal for the Steve Carter Literacy Tutoring Program, they'll be able to input their zip code, and providers for their area will then appear on a list. And so some areas may only have access to virtual tutors depending on the region, and others will have a choice between face-to-face or virtual tutoring depending on the region that that family resides.
One additional follow-up on that. We have been able to pass a set of legislation at the state legislature, and that would not have been possible without representatives like Representative Hughes, Representative McKnight, and other literacy champions that we have. And so we just feel like with those policies that have been passed, with that legislation, and with the energy that we are seeing over the next few years, we will see an increase in our literacy rates across the state. But it would not be happening without the team effort that everyone is putting into this.
Hey, Kate, this is Will.
Hey, Will.
Hey, for either you or Jenna, is 38,000 kids that can be helped this year still a good number to use?
Well, we know that the funding that we have made available, it is not enough funding to cover every single child that might be in need of the program, but we know that it's a start. We know that this program is in its infancy. It's going to be really important to track results and run some parallel research beside this. And so we'll be in a better position to understand the need moving forward. But for now, we think that a $40 million commitment is a significant commitment and will certainly help move the needle.
Thanks, Dr. Brumley. Are there any additional questions? I don't see any questions in the chat. You can either type them there, or if you want to unmute and ask the question, that'll work as well.
Hi, Dr. Brumley. It's Marla Lathan. Will there be access to rural students? I know a lot of times students in rural areas kind of struggle with access. So are there tutors assigned that will be easily accessible to rural students, especially with the wireless, the Wi-Fi issues that sometimes rural areas have with connectivity?
Yeah, thanks, Marlo. Good to hear from you. So we certainly care a lot about rural education, and we have thought through this a good bit. We have a rolling RFP for tutoring vendors to be able to be a part of the program. And so that will stay open. We think that once we begin to advertise for the program, it will gain momentum. We'll probably hear from more vendors who want to be a part of the program. And so they can certainly apply for that. We know that right now across the state, we probably would not have enough individuals or companies rather that could provide face-to-face tutoring services. But what we have made available and doing the best that we can is a set of providers who are willing to provide online tutoring services to those who are in need. So I think moving forward, you'll see more vendors who want to participate in the program. But right now, it's just a collection of both face-to-face and online instruction.
Thank you.
Kate, this is Will again. Can you help me when you were talking about how many sessions my child might be able to get with the $1,000? You said maybe 25 sessions one-on-one, or maybe 35 sessions if it was in a group of 3. In both cases, are those in person or are those virtual, or is that both?
Yeah, so that's both. So what our team did is we did some market research to look at what rates should be. And so tutors that have signed up for the program have accepted the rates that we have put forth. And so with the $1,000 voucher per child, what that will essentially equate to is 25 individual sessions, or if they want to be part of a small group of instruction and no more than 3 students, the rate's a little less. So that would allow around 35 sessions. So if they want to be one-on-one, it's about 25 sessions over the course of the year. If they want to be in a small group, it's somewhere around 35. But if that time is used wisely, that is substantial time to be able to provide some assistance to the children in need.
But again, when I'm saying one-on-one, that might be virtual or it might be in person.
That's right. Yes, Will. Yeah. And Will, that's important because in some of the communities where they do not have face-to-face tutoring options, what we wanted to make sure is that at least there was an online option so that they could have access in that particular way.
Thanks.
Do we have any additional questions? Okay, if we don't have any additional questions, just a note that I did put in the chat box a link to the presentation, a one-pager with some basic facts, as well as the press release that'll go out later today. Again, thank you for joining us. And before we wrap up, I wanted to give Dr. Brumley one more opportunity just to make some closing remarks.
No, I just thanks, Ted. I just want to thank Representative McKnight, Representative Hughes for being part of the call today, and even more importantly, authoring the initial legislation. This is a new endeavor. The state of Louisiana hasn't done this before, and so it's really exciting. And we have to realize it may not be perfect on day one. If there are issues, we will work through those issues and make it better. But I think it's really exciting, the opportunity that we're going to provide to our families and our kids. So thanks, Ted.
All right, that concludes the call. Thanks everyone for joining.